Japan today is a global titan, a land of neon lights, high-speed rail, and cutting-edge technology. It is a nation that defines the word modern. But how did a country with almost no natural resources, island-bound and isolated, become the world's second-largest economy in just a few decades? To understand the miracle, we must go back to the darkest hour in human history, to a time when Japan was not a leader, but a nation in ashes. August 1945. World War II had ended. For Japan, the result was total defeat. Its cities were leveled, its industry was gone, and its pride was shattered. Industrial production had plummeted to just 27% of its pre-war level. Steel, coal, and power, the lifeblood of a nation, were simply non-existent. Millions were homeless and starving. The black market became the only way to survive. For many, the future was not a dream, but a luxury they couldn't afford. The arrival of General Douglas MacArthur and the Allied occupation marked the start of a radical transformation. Japan was about to be remade. The first mission was simple: ensure Japan could never wage war again. The military was disbanded, and the dream of empire was buried. Then came economic surgery. The Americans broke up the zaibatsu, the giant industrial monopolies that had dominated Japanese life for centuries. Next was land reform. Millions of tenant farmers became owners of the soil they tilled. It was the birth of a new motivated Japanese middle class. But as the Cold War intensified in 1947, American policy underwent a reverse course. Japan was no longer a defeated enemy to be punished. The U.S. needed a powerful, stable ally in the Pacific, a shield against the spread of communism. Japan's recovery became a matter of global security. American banker Joseph Dodge arrived to stop the economic bleeding. He implemented shock therapy, balancing the budget and ending hyperinflation. His most lasting legacy? Fixing the exchange rate at 360 yen to the dollar. It was undervalued, making Japanese exports incredibly cheap for the world. Then came 1950. The Korean War broke out. It was a tragedy for millions, but for Japan's economy, it was what many called a gift from the gods. The U.S. military needed supplies, and they needed them now. Japan became the primary logistics hub. Billions of dollars in orders poured in almost overnight. The Korean War procurement was the starting gun. It gave Japan the hard currency it needed to buy the technology and raw materials to rebuild. In 1949, the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, MITI, was born. These were the architects of the miracle, planning growth with precision. MITI didn't leave success to the market alone. They handpicked winning industries like steel and shipbuilding, providing them with tax breaks and cheap loans. Steel was the priority. If Japan could produce the cheapest and best steel, they could build the world's best ships, bridges, and eventually cars. By the mid-1950s, Japan had become the world's leading shipbuilder. It was the first sign that the Made in Japan label was ready for the global stage. The high-speed growth era had arrived. For nearly 2 decades, Japan's economy would grow by an incredible 10% every single year. Japan had a secret weapon: its people, a young, highly literate workforce with a literacy rate of 99%. They were ready for the new industrial age. The Japanese people saved their money at record rates. These savings provided the cheap capital that banks needed to fund the massive industrial expansion. In 1960, Prime Minister Hayato Ikeda launched the Income Doubling Plan. His goal was simple: double the wealth of every citizen in 10 years. It wasn't just a political promise, it worked. The economy doubled in size in just 7 years. Poverty was being replaced by a massive middle class. For the first time, ordinary families could afford the 3 sacred treasures: a washing machine, a refrigerator, and a television. Modern life had arrived. To prepare for the 1964 Olympics, Tokyo was completely rebuilt. 10,000 new buildings and a network of highways transformed the city into a metropolis of the future. The 1964 Games were Japan's coming-out party. The world saw a nation that had moved past its dark history to become a leader in peace and technology. And on the same day the Games began, the world's first bullet train, the Shinkansen, entered service. It was a symbol of Japan's engineering genius. The Shinkansen didn't just move people, it moved the nation. It connected cities like never before, fueling a new era of commerce and travel. But there was a deeper, hidden revolution. An American named W. Edwards Deming taught Japan that quality was the key to global dominance. The Japanese didn't just copy, they perfected. They applied statistical control to every factory floor, obsessive about making products that never broke. In the 1950s, made in Japan meant cheap. By the 1970s, it meant elite. Sony, Panasonic, and Canon were becoming the most trusted names on Earth. Sony revolutionized the way we lived. From the first transistor radio to the Walkman, they didn't just make products, they created new ways for the world to experience culture. And then there was the car industry. Toyota developed a system of continuous improvement, or Kaizen. They eliminated waste and empowered every worker. Their just-in-time production system became the envy of the world. By the late 70s, Japanese cars weren't just cheaper, they were better than anything from Detroit. But the miracle faced a crisis in 1971. The US ended the gold standard, causing the yen to skyrocket. Japanese exports were suddenly more expensive. Then, the 1973 oil crisis hit. Japan, which imported almost 100% of its energy, saw its economy contract for the first time in the post-war era. Instead of collapsing, Japan pivoted. They moved away from energy-hungry heavy industry and into the future, microchips, robotics, and high-tech electronics. Japan became the world leader in robotics. They automated their factories at a scale the rest of the world could barely imagine, staying ahead of the global curve. By the 1980s, the miracle had reached its peak. Japan was a financial superpower. The bubble economy was born, and the wealth seemed limitless. Real estate prices in Tokyo defied reality. At its peak, the land under the Imperial Palace was theoretically worth more than all the land in California. Japanese companies were buying up the world's most iconic assets, from Rockefeller Center to Hollywood studios. It seemed like Japan would own the future. In the late 1980s, the rising sun was at its zenith. Japan was no longer just a miracle, it was a model for the entire world to follow. But in 1991, the bubble burst. Stock prices crashed and land values plummeted. The high-speed era was over, replaced by the lost decades. Growth slowed, and the nation had to adapt once again. But the foundation built during the miracle years remained, stable, resilient, and wealthy. The miracle wasn't just in the numbers. It was in the spirit of a people who refused to stay down, who took a broken nation and built a masterpiece. Today, Japan remains at the forefront of global innovation. From renewable energy to healthcare, the lessons of the miracle are still being applied to the challenges of today. Beyond economics, Japan's culture has conquered the world. From anime to Zen, the Japanese way of life has inspired millions across every continent. Nations around the world still look to the Japanese miracle as a roadmap for development, a story of how vision and hard work can change destiny. How did Japan rise? It was a combination of geopolitical luck, brilliant state planning, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. But mostly, it was heart. From the ashes of 1945 to the light of the modern age, the rising sun had not just returned, it had redefined what was possible for a nation to achieve. This is the story of the Japanese miracle, a testament to the power of the human spirit, to rebuild, to grow, and to shine. Always rising. The miracle is complete, but the journey of the rising sun continues. Even in the earliest days, the seeds were there, in the small acts of resilience, in the refusal to accept defeat as a permanent state. The investment in education was the smartest move of all. Japan knew that their only true resource was the brains of their citizens, and they nurtured them. They built. They carved a modern nation out of a rugged, mountainous land. Every bridge and every tunnel was a step towards a unified, powerful economy. Trust was their currency. By being the best, they became the world's workshop. Japan became synonymous with reliability, a priceless achievement. Japan showed the world that a nation can be a superpower without a military. That true power comes from the strength of its economy and the well-being of its people. The innovation never stopped. From solving the problems of the home to solving the challenges of global physics, Japan has always looked for a better way. This is the Takumi spirit, the pursuit of perfection in every craft. It is what makes a Japanese product feel different. It is what makes them leaders. As the world changes, Japan will change with it. But they will do it with the same grit and vision that turned ashes into a miracle nearly a century ago. Some things never change. The strength of the mountain, the beauty of the season, and the relentless spirit of the nation of the rising sun. Ruins, rebirth, growth, glory. A journey that changed history, a miracle that continues to inspire the world every single day. The world will always watch Japan, to see what is possible, to see how to rise, to see the light of the modern miracle shining bright. This is Japan, a nation reborn, a miracle that became reality. The rising sun, forever high, forever bright. A light for us all. The story is told, the lesson is clear. Rise, plan, perfect. The miracle is yours to discover. Thank you for watching.